And okay, so let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. And um, just see where your mind's at this evening, as we always do. How's your weekend been? Just see where you're at. Like, check in with yourself in the same way you would check in with a very dear friend. Feel the soles of the feet on the floor. Have your feet about at hips width apart. Feel the weight of your sits bones on your chair. Shoulders aligned with the hips and the ears aligned with the shoulders. And imagine your spine is this beautiful string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. Imagine you're lengthening your spine. And bring your attention to the crown of the head and relax your scalp. Maybe you can feel some sensation there on the crown of the head. And when my hair grows back after I've cut it, it feels like pressure. If I cut it right down to the scalp, I shave it off completely and then it starts to grow back. It's a very strange feeling. And then relax the forehead and the eyebrows, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the back of the tongue, the jaw, the temples, your ears, the back of the head, the neck. And allow your shoulders and shoulder blades just to drop down. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly and your limbs. So just allow this softness to spread from the crown of the head all the way down through the body to the feet. And are your toes wriggling? So just try and allow yourself to be still. Maybe. Notice any sensations. Sorry, notice any external sensory information, sounds, smells, and just allow them all to be there. And then be aware of the mind and some space in between the mind, in between the thoughts in the mind. And just allowing your thoughts to arise and to abide. And then, as I say, and I say this as much as for myself as to everybody else, just try not to follow the story that's going on in the mind right now, if there is one. And you'll know that if you don't follow the story, it's not going to go anywhere. We have so many thoughts that come to our mind, and then we create these future scenarios, and then we get all upset about them, but they're not even real. They haven't even happened yet. May not happen. And you may be like Venerable Ingrid and live to 80 and have a Lama come and bless you the day before you pass, or you may just drop dead, like my friend Sarah. on the pavement outside a store somewhere. Well, she had an aneurysm, but didn't live very long. Be aware of all of these beautiful people in our life, our loved ones, the strangers, the ones we find irritating, remembering they're all equal in their wish to be happy, their wish to be free from suffering, and having an extraordinary capacity for Buddha mind. I think we'll dedicate this evening, thinking of Venerable Ingrid, for those of you who knew her or knew about her. I think one of her extraordinary skills and qualities was she would do the most extraordinary flower arrangements for Lama Zopa Rinpoche's teachings. And it was quite a production. We had these events. We used to do these retreats at Blue Ridge in near Asheville in North Carolina. And she would do these flowers every day for 2 weeks. And she was an extraordinary artist. She was also a little bit of a healer as well, and had a lot of faith in her teachers, in her practice. So just dedicate, even if you don't know her, because it could be you one day. And as Lama Zopa Rinpoche said, if you don't make prayers for someone when they've passed, who's going to do it for you? So think, there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, so equally we can change it by creating positivity instead. And we start with this power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any more suffering. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And so then we think, well, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance, and we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has the methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing Buddha Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So, it's the same thing as, Yangtze Rinpoche was, when he came to Seichen Ling, which is here in San Francisco, our center there, he talked about, this is, feel like it's more like healing rather than you've done something wrong and you need to fix it. And he said something similar yesterday in our Tara Puja about prayer, rather than it being sort of a negative thing. More, he said, focus more on the positive. Be more. Your prayers are optimistic. You're helping yourself on your own spiritual path with these prayers, and others, in order to help others. So now imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also think this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this beautiful, radiant, blissful white light. sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion, and he has a beautiful radiant face, and his eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth, his hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell, and this represents wisdom, and the right holds a vajra, and this represents indestructibility of compassion, and their being crossed represents the union of these, and this symbolizes enlightenment, infinite wisdom, and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened by this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva. May I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. And in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of someone you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you, and particularly have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering for them in the future. So now we come to the power of remedy, and we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends this really powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this just kind of like gets pushed out of you, and it disappears into space once it's left, not one atom left. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hom Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajra Mami Mutta Vajra Bawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hom Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajra Mami Mutta Vajra Bawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hom Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajra Mami Mutta Vajra Bawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hom Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajra Mami Mutta Vajra Bawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hom Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajra Mami Mutta Vajra Bawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hom Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajra Mami Mutta Vajra Bawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hom Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajra Mami Mutta Vajra Bawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe. So be delighted at all the harm you've done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body. except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about others behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Trida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Trida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Drida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of our mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you imagine you walk into a room and it's dark, you flick on the switch, and the light instantly dispels the darkness. But we often don't think of it like that. We just think of, I'll just switch on the light and I can see what's in the room. So next time you walk into a room, just flick on the switch and imagine you've dispelled the darkness with the light. And then imagine as the light comes from Vajrasattva's heart and hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind. So all your depression and anger and attachment and neediness and jealousy, all these kind of resentment and bitterness and grudges, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So now imagine just all your delusions are gone and be delighted because these are the source of our suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech. And imagine they're completely purified now. And now there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So now we purify at a bit more subtle level the imprints of negativity of our body, speech, and mind. And you imagine Vajrasattva sending light and nectar. So then the nectar pours down and pushes out from the lower orifices all of the negativity of the body. Then the nectar pushes up all the negativity of the speech. And then the light comes and blasts all the negativity of the mind. So this is happening simultaneously. So just do the best you can while we recite the mantra and imagine it's eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from our minds. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Sidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Ambhadrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So now feel you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve, and this is the fourth and final step in the purification process. It's a really important one because here is where we make a decision to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. And this just gives us some guardrails. Becomes like a beacon that guides us in new directions. So rejoice in your efforts coming along tonight. How amazing. And then think about something you'd like to work on tomorrow, tonight, until we meet tomorrow. And then imagine Vajrasattva's delighted with all of us, wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown, and think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So let's just just do a little bit about emptiness first. Just think about, in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So just place your mind in emptiness for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. It's always good to question that. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice, is Vajrasattva, ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's just do chanting the names of Manjushri. And with a host of other Vajrapanis of varied forms, the lords of Yakas, sublime protectors, noble wrathful kings, he then exclaimed this effervescent praise. Protector, we rejoice, how excellent what you have clearly taught. Through you, our lofty aim has been achieved, which leads to true and full awakening. And so the aims of helpless mundane beings who seek the fruits of perfect liberation, just this taught in the Mahayala is the noble path that leads to excellence. Okay, thank you, everybody. Let's have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for the swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and for all of your individual teachers. Okay. Lots of love, everyone. And may everybody here have a long life. Okay. Good night, everybody. I'll see some of you tomorrow morning. Thank you so much. And lots of love. Sweet dreams.